Welcome to the show, Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life Institute. 5 full days a week on the Resource Hour, we feature the good doctor. He is our first thing out of the hat every day except Friday. And on Friday, he's right behind Simplifying Your Retirement with the Blackstone Financial Group. What do you mean, doctor, when you say to me the title of today's segment would be The Value of Balance?
Well, it's something that we forget all about. Okay, we focus on particulars. We focus on specifics. We focus on the details of life and the details of everyday business, but we don't focus on balance. Everything in balance, everything in moderation. And why should I care to discuss balance? Because it's really, if anything else, it's the secret to success. Not necessarily in medicine, although it surely is. But it's true in family life, it's true in financial life, it's true in spiritual life. Everything in balance. If all you did all day long was focus on any one of the above, you're not going to be a very complete person. You're certainly not going to be very successful, and you probably won't be very happy. Because none of the above have all of the answers to everything. There isn't going to be anybody or anything out there to take care of you when things start to go sideways. Now, here in Florida and elsewhere, okay, things have a tendency to happen, okay, whether they're weather-related events, whether they're criminal activities, whether they're terrorist activities, or whether or not they might be something more along the lines of self-inflicted wounds. And most of the terrors in life are not going to come from some masked person with a bomb. It's going to come in the form of a foodstuff. It's going to come in the form of a hamburger. It's going to come in the form of a bottle or a piece of plastic. It's going to happen. But everything in balance. No substance other than perhaps plutonium and mercury are inherently evil, dangerous, or deadly. Everything else is in balance. You can die just as dead as anything else by taking in too much sugar. You can die just every bit as dead by having too little. The same thing is true with salt. The same thing is true of oxygen. Too much or too little is equally deadly. Carbon dioxide, too much or too little, deadly. Too much or too little nitrogen, deadly. How would you know that? Okay, talk to a diver sometime and have them explain to you the value of having nitrogen in their mixture. Okay, you have to have balance in your life, balance in your existence. But in this case, we're going to be looking at balance in your diet and balance in your life. So blood pressure is a great example of balance. Okay, what's the need? Why do we even care about blood pressure? We didn't even know it was much of an issue, okay, until the middle portion of the 20th century. A lot of people died, famous people died, of hypertension-related injuries and stroke because we didn't understand the importance or the ramifications of having a blood pressure that was too high. One of the last things that happens before you die is your blood pressure is too low. So what does your blood pressure need to be in balance? And it's not a number. Well, it's got to be 120/80. No, it does not. The blood pressure that you have has to be of sufficient force, sufficient pressure to reach the top of your head when you're standing. That is what it's all about. When you're lying flat, lying on your stomach or sitting down, the distance between your heart and the top of your head is going to change. It's going to diminish. So when somebody feels faint because their blood pressure is dropping, what do? You lie down, for God's sake. Why? Okay, because now the head and the heart are at the same level. It doesn't have to push it uphill, as it turns out, and now all of a sudden the pressure becomes adequate to maintain consciousness. What happens when it gets to be too high? The blood vessels start to harden, they tighten down. The end organs, things like your eyes, your kidneys, your heart, your liver to some extent, they start to die. Why is this? Because the pressure is too hot for them to handle. Temperature, great example of balance. If it gets to be too hot, your proteins denature and you die. Heat stroke can lead to seizure activity. Why? Because of the brain damage. But it damages the muscle and every bit of the protein in your body. When does this occur? It starts at 104 degrees, which is why you ice children down when they have high temperatures. So you have to maintain a temperature within a fairly narrow range. What happens if it's too low? Your heart stops. That's kind of a bummer. Your muscles stop working. Things start to break down. The muscles start to die, and you end up, ending up with rather embarrassing things like kidney shutdown as a result of low temperatures. So where is that sweet spot? what is the sweet spot for temperature? And oddly enough, it's between 97.6 and 99.6. That's where your body wants to be on a regular basis. So why do we see changes in our temperature during life? Okay, well, you got sick, so you developed a fever. So what do? Why did your body develop a fever? Why did this happen? It has to do with your immune system being more sensitive and more effective at the higher temperatures than at the lower temperatures. So at 101, your immune system works optimally, which is absolutely the reason why you don't want to be taking aspirin and Tylenol to fix a fever. Your body is trying to fix itself, but you think you're a whole hell of a lot smarter, so what do? I'm going to break this fever up. I'll feel a lot better, and this is one of the many reasons why individuals that treat these viral illnesses, coughs, colds, and flu, and so on and so forth, with over-the-counter medications find that the symptoms last longer than if you left it alone. At 102, you start to treat it. With kids, 103, you start to treat it. You certainly get really, really anxious and moving quickly when it gets much above that. What about temperatures below? You have to restore body temperatures to at least 97.6, but preferably in the 98 to 99 range in order to remain healthy. This is part of the most basic of all vital signs and balance. Well, great. Okay, now what are you going to do with that piece of data? And the answer is probably nothing. But conceptually, it's very, very important because now we're going to start looking at other things like sleep. Do you think sleep's important? Sleep is of critical importance for you to maintain your mental health. Now, oddly enough, there are an awful lot of crazy people out there. I worry about everybody else but you and me. And most of the time, I worry about you. Okay? So here's the issue, is that you can make anybody crazy, depressed, psychotic if you wait long enough, through sleep deprivation. And if you don't believe that, pick up a book, okay, which is sort of a historical note in and of itself. Most of the people out there don't own any books. So go to the internet and look up the Chinese water torture. What this was all about was Korean War, and what they did as an interrogation technique, you dropped a drop of water onto the prisoner's forehead. And after a number of hours to days of not being able to concentrate, sleep, or do anything else, they would tell you anything you wanted to hear. Brilliant. Okay, it didn't leave any marks. The United Nations didn't get all upset about it, and Whale Watch didn't go ballistic. Okay, so the long and short of it is sleep is important. Well, how much sleep do you think you really need anyway? And the answer is, and in fact, it has been scientifically proven that you need between 8.5 and 10.5 hours of sleep. And you might say, well, I never get that much sleep. Look at how brilliantly I'm doing. My suggestion there is to ask your closest friends and family how brilliantly you really are doing, and then look critically in the mirror. The long and short of it is, it's been studied over and over and over again that before a test in college, you would do better irrespective of how much studying you did if you went to bed and got 8 hours sleep. That's why. Because you can think more clearly if you're sleeping properly. Depriving yourself of sleep is a bad thing. Well, how do we do that? Especially as we look at balance, everything in moderation. How do we deprive ourselves of sleep? Well, the most brilliant way that we do it in our kids is to allow them to have cell phones. A cell phone ringing, buzzing, and doing what it does will awaken a kid quite regularly throughout the evening, preventing them from sleeping properly, and then we end up with a bunch of no-good children. Okay, that's just the way it works. Okay, we all have them. We all know how this stuff works. Is it remediable? Try to break a habit sometime. It's not as easy as it looks. Try to take somebody's cell phone away from them. You can be reported to, as a child abuser if you take away a high school kid's cell phone. Okay, these things should not be permitted, yet we allow it as a society, and guess what? We are now suffering the consequences of this. Sleep is important. How else can we damage our own sleep while we're complaining about the kids? Alcohol will do it. Okay, so if you drink alcohol within 2 or 3 hours of going to sleep, you are going to wake up 2 or 3 hours after that in a mini withdrawal. So you will destroy your sleep through nocturnal, it's evening use of alcohol. How else do we destroy ourselves? There are medications that we take that will allow us to sleep. We have medications that forbid you from sleeping. My favorite one is Adderall. Okay, why do we use Adderall? Well, I've got ADD. I need to be able to function, so on and so forth. It's speed, for God's sake. Amphetamine, D-L-amphetamine. What do you think that does to your sleep cycles? Sleep cycles can also be disturbed by things like nasal sprays. These nasal sprays that are steroidal. will disturb your ability to sleep. So everything in balance.
Even your nutraceuticals. And if you want to make sure you get your nutraceuticals on time, you need to sign up for the stagesoflifevitamins.com project. That's stagesoflifevitamins.com. Check it out. Also, suffernomore.com, suffernomore.com. And here's more contact information.
Our phone number is 407-679-3337, and our website is stagesoflife.net. We're located in Longwood at 1917 Booth Circle. That's right off of I-4 and 434. And let's see, our office hours are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. The health store that Rob mentioned with all of our nutraceuticals is open during those office hours, but we're also on the web, as I said, at stagesoflife.net, and you can purchase your nutraceuticals at your leisure, and we will ship them to you.